www.dreamspirebook.com. We have amazing authors that are joining us today, from children's books to steamy fiction. Again, you are not going to want to miss this. See you there. DreamSpire Books Virtual Launch Box. Everything you need for a successful virtual book launch in one place. Timelines, press release templates, social media advertising info, graphic design, an interview on our streaming network, and a personal coaching session. Don't forget your thank yous and so much more. Visit us at www.dreamspirebooks.com for more information.
Welcome everybody, and we are here with DreamSpire Books Virtual Book Fair. We're going to be here for a couple hours. We have some amazing authors that are joining us today, and they're going to talk about their book. Some of them are going to read from their book, and we're just going to get to know them better. We also have a way that you're going to be able a little later to click on the screen and connect directly with them and be able to buy their book. So we definitely look forward to that. So I'm just going to start in order. We're getting a little feedback from somebody. Okay. I'm going to start with Deontay. We're so happy to have you here today.
Thank you.
Okay, I might have to mute your mics if we keep getting the feedback. We're going to try.
Satan, get away,
well.
please.
Okay.
Leave. I rebuke.
Okay, we don't have to mute that mic.
Now.
Okay, we'll come back. But we're going to start with Deontay. So Deontay, where are you joining us from today?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, just right down the street and around the corner. Well, you could have just came on by.
Probably.
I'm right here in Atlanta as well, so we're glad to have you with us. We're going to get into your book and everything a little later. I kind of feel like a school teacher a little bit with the virtual thing. So we have Dr. Robert Howard. Where are you joining us from today?
I'm in Houston, Texas. As you can tell from the shirt, I was in Atlanta for a while, so it's good to see some fellow Atlanteans, but I'm in Houston now.
Okay, so Morehouse, all right. Not mad at that at all. And Miss Trevor D., where are you joining us from?
So I am from New Jersey. However, I am in North Carolina visiting my parents. So.
Okay, well, good. Okay, LaShawn?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm from Savannah, Georgia. So I'm like 4 hours away from Atlanta.
Okay, just down the street and around the corner.
Yeah, that's right down the street.
Okay, how about you, Miss Joy?
I am in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay, so we were talking a little bit off air about how that it's been a journey in 2020. Oh, okay. We have JM that popped back in. She was doing a little something, so let me get you. Okay, where are you joining us from?
Hi, I'm from El Paso, Texas. I'm here because of military. Otherwise, I'd be living in Utah right now.
Okay, that's awesome. On one of our other platforms, where we have artists. We had an artist that won our contest from Utah, so that was pretty cool there. So I'm just gonna have just jump right into it. We're gonna have a little artist roundtable. Have you, and whoever wants to answer, you could just come on in. Have you been writing in this pandemic? How has it affected your writing? Have you been writing less, more? Has it given you more time in your day? Anybody just want to jump in with that?
Yes, well, I've started during the pandemic, I've started my second book. And so actually, this has been a very downtime for me because I'm always going to different conferences, doing book events. So during this pandemic, I was able to really slow down and concentrate on the second book. And so with that, I was able to actually finish. I'm finished with the second book. So now I'm going back through, making sure I'm not missing anything. Is anything else I want to put inside of the book? So actually, I'm just doing a little a review of everything that I want inside of the book now. So I think for me personally, it was a good downtime for me to begin on the second book to finish it.
Well, that's
For,
awesome. Anyone else?
for me, it was
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Um,
Okay.
JM?
So I was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, for some military training right when COVID kicked off, and because the military wanted to prevent further spread, they put my course on hold, and they literally told me stay in the barracks. And so I was in the barracks for a full month. I could leave to go eat and things, but they really wanted everyone to not, group up. And so that's when I was able to sit down and crank out another novel. So
Okay.
it worked for me pretty well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I would agree.
Deontay?
It was just being stuck in the house, just like the other two ladies were saying, and you just have nothing to do, and it's just like giving you that creative space because we're working, we have our daily lives and things that we're doing. Mm-hmm. And for me, not being able to work for a while due to the pandemic, I mean, I was just stuck in the house, and I needed an escape, and this was a part of being creative writing. Like the lady said, I just started on my second book, so just children's book, so it's giving me an outlet to be creative.
For me, it's been the opposite for me. Mm-hmm. My job very quickly switched to teleworking, and one of the things that became apparent was you can very easily call a meeting, and all of a sudden you don't have to drive to work, you don't have to drive home, so meetings go later and start earlier. So my day job has gotten busier, which left me a little bit less time to write. I still have to find time, and I was actually working this weekend. Probably the first time in a couple months I've had time to touch it. I'm working on my third novel now. But COVID has made things get busier at work, which is good because I love my work. But on the writing side, it's had to take a back seat.
So for me, like you, Robert, it definitely was the opposite because I write children's books, and with everything going on, it became very burdensome, very concerned about our children and how they're going to fare through COVID, in school with them not being able to gather and, having to learn differently, and then parents having to do virtual homeschooling and what have you. So it became burdensome for me, and I switched from writing to actually doing story time and read aloud on virtually, and just trying to do more virtually. So I wrote less because it was so heavy for me with everything going on.
Okay. How about you, Joy?
Did you say Joy?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't hear you. For me, I wrote 2 more books, but it's been kind of hard to find the time because my job also switched us to teleworking, and I actually find myself working longer hours now that I work from home. So it's actually been kind of hard just to set aside time to write.
Okay. And Miss Lane, can you hear us now?
I can. Can you hear me now?
Yay! Okay. we need to celebrate. She's been having a time. Calling on Jesus and everybody.
I'm telling you, I had to go to my phone. I had to get off the laptop, but I am here. So I am from the Gulf Coast, the Mississippi Gulf Coast, because I missed all that. But I'm from the
Okay.
Mississippi Gulf Coast, beautiful down here. And I didn't hear the other question, so you're going to have to repeat that other question for me.
So, how has the pandemic affected your writing? Are you writing more, writing less, or what effect has it had?
Oh, I'm writing more now. I am writing more since the pandemic because it gives me time to. Um, I don't have a lot of distractions now, so I can concentrate on what I need to do and the words that I need to put on paper more since the pandemic.
Okay, so we kind of got a mix. If for those who are working from home, it can. I found out a long time ago because I was able on one of my jobs to work from home, and then I found when I got that 12 o'clock midnight email from my boss, I was like, wait a minute, maybe this isn't all it's cracked up to be because it's you have to set those limits, or you'll find yourself. I'm a full time entrepreneur, so I always tell people I've never worked this hard for anyone else as I've worked for myself because you can find yourself sitting there. But during the pandemic, it has created some opportunities for others and challenges for others. If you were, and we're going to do this and then we're going to get into some of our interviews. Um, so, if you were to write a book this year, about this year, what would the title of that book be?
Oh, my title will be Lord Help Me Get Through This.
I hear you. I hear you. Anyone else?
Wear a mask.
Okay.
Something I think that needs to be put out there. The reasons why.
Okay. Lord have mercy where I'm at. Okay. Could anyone else think of a title?
We survived it all.
I think
Hey, we're seeing the end stretch, but 2020 has been something. So until I see that, I think everyone's going to be glad to see that January 3rd. I mean that December 31st. So we cross on over to 2021, and we already won in 2021. Now, don't you copy 2020? That's for sure. Anyone else? If you had to title this year, if you had to write a book about this year and you had a title, what would you title it?
my title would be Restart, Refocus, and Renew.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think mine would be I never saw it coming, but I made it.
Yeah.
That's good. I never saw it
Definitely.
coming. No, I don't think any of us saw it coming.
Mine would probably be something about shifting during the pandemic, like being able to shift, refocus, I guess.
Yeah.
I like that. We always tease among our group about the word pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Pivot is got to be retired after the end of this year. We are not pivoting anymore. We are pivoting is going on the shelf. We're not going to do that. I think you know, in all seriousness though, a lot of us have had to turn and to pivot and to be agile
Yeah,
in
very.
all of those things this year. No matter what you do, you had to. It has been a time to refocus.
Mm-hmm.
I know with me, we really had to refocus on what we're doing here. And because we were already in the online space, it was an easier turn for us. And it's really been a time where, with Thanksgiving coming up, no matter what you believe and what you celebrate, it is a time to reflect because a lot of times we've taken things for granted. and as writers, we're the eyes and the ears of people. everything starts with that word. It may come in logos, but then it comes written. And when we put it down on the page, whether we're writing a children's book, a mystery book, I don't know about you guys, but I was one of those kids that went to sleep with books in my bed
Mhm.
and always love reading.
Yeah.
So we're glad to have you here. I want you to just be comfortable. And our top of the hour guests are not here, so we'll ask a couple more round table questions, and then we'll get into our interview. And I'd love to hear about each and every one of your books, your writing process. That's probably going to be a round table question. We'll ask that, and then we'll get into our interview. So, what is your writing process, JM?
Let's see. Um, I've written 11 novels to date, and
Wow.
I write every single novel by hand first.
Wow.
And I do that because first drafts are always crap.
Okay.
and so I write it by hand first just to get to know what I want to say, and then I type it on the computer to figure out how I want it said. And that forces me to write the story twice, which is far easier and far better for editing. So that and then after it's on the computer, I send it through a program that actually reads it out loud to me, because we hear things differently than we read them, and I'm able to catch even more errors. So by the time my editor receives it, there's not a lot for me to change after that.
Wow. So 11 books. When did you start writing?
When I was 15, I'm 33.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They're not all published. I've got a 5-book series I'm trying to get published. To date, I've published 4. I've almost got 5.
That's awesome.
Okay. Mhm.
What about you, Deontay? What is your writing process?
My writing process is kind of similar to. I pretty much am a firm believer get it out of my head and write it, and not to focus so much on the structure of it in the beginning, because a lot of times I find that you become more creative when you just get it out of your head and put it down there. And then once I kind of have constructed it and put it together, then I start to try to put the pieces together like the puzzle. Okay, this goes here, this needs to go here, I need to add on to this. So my writing process is just get it out. Don't think too much about it, because I find a lot of times when we think too much about it, then we start to hold ourselves back creatively. So I just really just write what's in my head, and what I want to say. And then I just try to, after that, put it together and try to put it in a way, okay, this is this chapter, okay, this goes with this. And then just go like that. And the next thing you know, I have the book together, and then it just kind of flows from there.
Okay. What about you, Dr. Howard?
Mine's kind of a mix of a structured and freeform style. Since I'm writing science fiction, I have to create the universe that it takes place in. So I do that first. I create sort of a library of my sci-fi universe. I write up all the sorts of different things about the planets that are there, the people, the equipment. Once I get that more or less complete, or at least enough to start with, I then write a sort of a synopsis of where I want each novel to go. And then for each novel, I write an outline, for each chapter, what are sort of the high points I want to achieve. Then I start writing the chapters themselves, and I do that free form, sort of stream of consciousness. I give myself the freedom to change things as I go, though. So sometimes as I'm writing, the chapter takes a life of its own, and I'll modify the outline that I'd created originally. It may even be as far as to take what was several chapters and combine them, or it may take what was one chapter and split them up, depending on how a plot develops. But I kind of let it take its own shape, and it's almost like I'm reading my own novel as I write it, or experiencing it real time.
Okay. Does anyone else want to jump in?
Well, mine is almost like JM's. Is I write a lot first. I have a lot of notebooks that I start writing in, because it's whatever I'm thinking about at that moment, I have a lot of notebooks around in every room and even by my bed because I might have a thought that comes up. I need to write that thought down that goes along with whatever I'm writing. And you know how the mind works. You can act like you can remember it, but you can't. So I write everything down, and it's not in any kind of order. And then once I figure out what I'm exactly writing about and who the audience is, then I start putting it in an order that way.
Okay. Awesome. I know we all have our processes. I'm definitely an author too, and I have my process. Usually, it starts with the title for me. I hear the title, and it may swim around for sometimes years before it comes to the paper. So it kind of just I start with the title, and it comes from there. I
Hmm.
also write poetry, and it's pretty the same process. I hear the outside, and then the inside kind of just fills itself out. So we're going to go and choose some of our in-depth interviews. Our first guests are not here. In my list, I don't want to, I left it, I didn't print it out and I didn't put it on my other phone. So who was at the top of our hour? You guys are on the honor system. Okay, so you know I could go look back if you're not. So I'm gonna bring Trevor in. You guys, I'm gonna take you out, but you're still gonna be in the waiting room. Okay, and we're gonna delve into Trevor. Okay, so I'm gonna remove you.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Okay, Trevor. Now it's just you and I.
Hi.
I mean, they're there, but it's just going to be you and I for right now.
Okay.
And we want to delve into you as an author and your book and everything that you have going on. So we're going to sit just play like we have like a virtual couch going here, and
Okay.
it's just you and I. So
I like that.
awesome. So you are a children's book author.
I am indeed.
And tell our audience about some of the other things that you have going on. How did you come to be a writer, or what do you do and when you're not an author?
So am actually, I have been in corporate America for 31 years, and yesterday was my last day. So I'm looking forward to this new chapter and spending more time with the books and doing more things and exploring more things as it relates to writing and just other ideas that are swimming in my head. So I'm looking forward to that. And I was fortunate enough to have a severance package that allows me a little bit of time to do that. So how did I become a writer? So I was in Barnes and Noble looking for books for my nephews and who were 4 years old at the time. I was looking for books specifically that featured black and brown boys. So me and the customer service rep, we're hunting, and it was almost like finding a needle in a haystack. We found two, which was very, very disappointing to me, because in that store, in that space, with all of those books and all of those words and pages, there were only two books dedicated to telling stories that my nephews could relate to, featuring characters that look like them. But while disappointed, I just turned that problem into a passion and decided that I would write books for them. I would tell their stories and tell the stories of children like them, um, which is why I am now here. And while writing stories that feature Black and brown boys, there are also stories that all children can relate to, right? There's stories that promote literacy, there's stories that promote self love, There are stories that teach empathy, and an appreciation for books with characters in them that may or may not look like you, right? But it's important to teach our children to build that empathy muscle and to be able to see the world through someone else's eyes. So that is my story, how I arrived here.
Well, I love that empathy muscle. I love that. So, do your nephews make any appearances in your stories?
So my first book, I Am Me, the character is him, is my nephew. Um, when I write, I use the children in my lives or in my life or in my village. I use them as inspiration. And so Jaden, who is the main character in a 4-book series, um, is my nephew all day.
Oh, good. So, how did your nephew feel about that?
He was excited. They're like, oh my God, they're really excited. And then I shout them out in the dedications. But he's really, really excited. And I was too, to be able to, because I don't have children. So to be able to write something and leave a legacy behind for my nieces and nephews was very important for me. So I was excited. I probably was more excited than he was, obviously, but we were all excited. My family was excited.
So, tell us, and we're going to have you, if you would like to, you can share the book with us.
Yeah.
Um, so, what is the book about, and what lessons does this particular? Is this a part of the 5-book series?
This is the first book, and then the first book, I Am Me, that's the first book in the series. And then my second book just came out in September, which is entitled Jaden and Zora's Crown. And Jaden is still the main character, but then you get to meet his friends.
Okay.
And so, in I Am Me, it's really a book about a little boy who is here to declare to the world that he is a big deal. It's about self love, understanding your worth, um, valuing who you are. It's a very short story with a powerful message. Um, Jaden and Zora's Crown is a little more in depth, right? So that book is about Jaden and his friend Chad. They have a friend named Zora, a little girl, and it's about them learning to appreciate her natural hair. So it's through a dream and the help of their parents that they were able to celebrate Zora's natural hair. And while the book is focused on hair, it can be applied to skin color or dialect or an ability that you may have. So, yeah, I'm very proud of that one as well.
That's nice. I mean, definitely we need to celebrate ourselves and
For
love
sure.
ourselves, and that starts from a child. That
Definitely.
definitely starts from a young person being able to
Mhm.
look in that mirror and like what's reflecting back on them. Um,
Definitely. I
I
think
know. Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was going to say the other thing that I like about the second book is that it's not just about affirming self, but it's being able to affirm others and to see others. And so that was the lesson for Jaden and Chad, to be able to see Zora and see her hair and to celebrate her.
And that's awesome. I mean, so we do need to celebrate each other and
Mhm.
kids. I don't know. I think it was sometime last year. You may have heard the story about the little girl that was with her hairdresser, and she looked and she said that she did not feel like she was
I
beautiful,
saw that.
and
Hmm.
that was heartbreaking
Yes.
because I
Hmm.
mean I don't even know if that baby was 3 years old,
Yeah, she
and
was
so
young.
from
Hmm.
very early we have to receive those messagings that
Yes.
we count, that we're
Yes.
beautiful, and that we're strong, and all of that. I
Yes.
would love to hear some of the book for sure.
Um, I can read I Am Me is very, very short, but again, the message is powerful. Okay. So it starts, I am Jaden, I am me. No one can be me. No, not like me. So I read this actually on with Cheryl. Cheryl Mays
Okay.
actually read it.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
really fun. These are my, I don't know if you can see this. These are my eyes. This is my nose. Here are my fingers. Here are my toes. My skin is brown, just like my dad's. It's like my mom's and my best friend Chad's. I am pretty cool. No, I'm not shy. My barber says he thinks I am fly. So a funny thing is that when I'm reading this book to youngsters, they're like, "What's fly?" I'm old school, right? So fly for me meant cool, but not to the little ones today. When I play games, all I do is win, and I do not cheat in any game I am in. Oh, how I love to read. My dad shows me how. And I like songs. I think I'll sing one now. And so he's singing a very popular song that the kids love when I read it. The Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Nay Nay song. So that the kids get a kick out of that. And after my bath, after I have been fed, before I close my eyes and go to bed, I am happy that I am Jaden. I am me. No one can be me. No, not like me, because I am me. The end.
Very nice. Very nice. And
Yes.
that's a good a book for beginning readers as
Yes.
well.
Mm-hmm.
To get that, to instill that love of reading
Mm-hmm.
very early on in their life, because I think not only is the message important, but reading is important
It's very.
um, to give people, young people at a very early age, especially during this pandemic. I was listening on the news to say that students are actually following behind because they don't have
Absolutely.
that structured reading.
Absolutely.
And so it's important to have books like yours out there that not only reflect the community, but
Mhm.
also teach children how to read,
Yes,
and
that
in
was
a fun way and in an engaging way.
yeah, that was the burden for me when COVID first started. I'm like, well, how are they for those that are already challenged with reading and already face challenges and are already starting behind the eight ball? How are they going to keep up? How are they what's it going to be like for them when this is all said and done? Will they be pushed through the school system not having the skills needed to be successful when they're older? Like what's going to happen to them? So I started the reading online to try to do my small part with that, not to negate at all the work that the teachers and parents are doing, just to kind of support where I could.
Yeah, and what Trevor is mentioning for DreamSpire Books, Cheryl Mays, who is our VP, came to me with an idea about having children's book read. We call it our storybook hour,
Mm-hmm.
and you can come on if you have a children's book and read your children's book, but also have an activity to go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, when you have young ones at home that are not in school or they're on distance learning, it's fun to have a little break. Is something different. And I love the fact that you can not only read your book, but you can also have an activity around it. So if
Yeah.
you want to get in contact with Trevor D and buy her book, we're going to flash this on the screen. So if you have another smart device that you're viewing us on, then I'm going to leave it up for a minute, and then we're going to go to a commercial break, and then we're going to come back with another author. But stick around. Stick.
Can,
Oh, yes.
can I read a
Go
page
ahead.
in Jaden and do her
Oh,
part?
oh, absolutely,
Thank
absolutely.
you. It'll be really quick. So in my head that night I dreamed My friend Zora was a queen. And sitting there on top of her head was the dopest crown I had ever seen. Only it was not really a crown of gold like Chad and I had in mind. It was her hair shining like the sun, so bright I almost went blind. Here's the
I
image.
love it. I love it. I love it. That
Yeah.
is beautiful
Mhm.
for sure. And I love that name Zora because it, of course, it reminds me of the author Zora Neale Hurst.
Zora Neale, yes. Hmm.
And definitely loved her work. Well, we're glad and stick around because we might need to pull you up. We might have another round table. We're just going to let this flow. We want people to really get a chance to know the authors, to hear the authors. But we're going to flash this on the screen so if people want to click and connect with you, bring out your smartphone and you'll be able to go directly where you can purchase the book I Am Me and the other books as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, we were just talking with author Trevor D and her book I Am Me, and also her book about the Zora and Zora the Queen and me. And so we love it. We encourage you to stop by. Get her book, connect with us, use the technology, put your smartphone over the QR code, and you can get the book right now. Or just bookmark it and go back. So we thank you for being with us today and stick around, Trevor. Who knows? We're
And
going to have
so,
another little round table. But
thank
right
you.
now, we're going to go into a commercial.
DreamSpire Books Virtual Launch Box. Everything you need for a successful virtual book launch in one place. Timelines, press release templates, social media advertising info, graphic design, an interview on our streaming network, and a personal coaching session. Don't forget your thank yous and so much more. Visit us at www.dreamspirebooks.com for more information.
All right, so you see that again, that you can get the book I Am Me, take a picture of it, and connect. So we are back, and we're going to bring in our next author in 1 second here. And we're going to talk. We had a couple of authors that we're not able to make it right now, but I'm going to bring Lane Bird in because she's had a day today already getting on. So while she is live and in person, we're going to bring Lane in and to talk about her book, what she has going on.
Well, hello. It has been
Hi.
a day, hasn't it?
Yes, but you made it, and that's the most important thing. And we're happy to have you here with us. It's actually to have you here on our platform again. And
Thank
so
you.
we're glad you made it back and that you continue to be a part of our platform and the things that we have going on here. And we appreciate you for being with us today virtually. So I know about your book because you have already been on one of our shows, but I want you to tell first get into your writing journey. So, what has been your writing journey, and how did you come up with the book?
Well, I started. It was me talking to my master, talking to the Lord above. And I always think that, and I know that we were created on this earth, all of us, with a purpose. It's just that we have to figure out what that purpose is. So once I figured out what that purpose was, and I'd seen how I needed to affect or encourage young girls, That's where this book came to birth. I used to teach, and I used to teach high school students. I used to teach middle school students, and I used to teach elementary students. So I taught each and every one of the eras in school. And I watched young girls from kindergarten all the way up to their senior year. And I watched how they entangled with other children. And when you're that close to children, you see things. You see things that maybe they not may not want you to see and understand, but you do. Because some things that happen in home or at home, it affects our kids. Our kids need to be encouraged, especially our young girls. They need to be encouraged, and they need to know that the purpose that they have on this earth is God's gift to them. See, people don't understand. Unique. My book is called Unique because uniqueness is beauty, and it's a gift of power. So our young girls need to know those two things. They're beautiful and they have the power. See, we're born with that power. We just have to learn how to use that power. I want to instill in young girls that they are winners. I want them to have that winning attitude. And if you don't mind, I have 5 traits about that winning attitude I want to share
Oh,
with the
absolutely.
audience. That first trait is self-awareness. See, we all, young girls and old girls, we all have to be honest with ourselves to know our strengths and our weaknesses. Because even though it's a weakness, you can combine it with that strength and it can become one. The second trait is focus. Young girls need to know that they have to focus on one thing at a time. You can't do everything and think you're going to get a good result. You have to focus on one thing at a time. So if you want to be a track star, you need to focus on what it takes to run that race. You can't be sitting over here dancing and be sitting over here and crafting, and you got to focus on what your mind, what you want to do. That third trait is confidence. Keep your eyes on your dreams and be confident within inside yourself that you can do anything. The fourth trait is toughness. Now, I'm not talking about going out there and fighting people, but I'm talking about the toughness of knowing that you have to be disciplined within yourself. You can't have any indulgences. See, young children, young girls, young boys, and young girls, they have people that are influence, influence, influencing them to do things and take them out of that realm of what they really want to do. You might want to be a nurse. Just say, this is for the older girls. This is for the girls 13, 14. You might want to be a nurse. You need to figure out what you have to do, what classes you need to take to pursue that dream of being a nurse. So if you have a biology test today, you can't let your friends call you and say, hey girl, we're going to the park. You have to have enough um, endurance for yourself to say, look, okay, I understand and I love you to death, but I got a test to study for. So that's where the discipline comes in. And then the fifth thing that young girls need to do is have a plan, have a game plan. See, we can recognize that being talented in some things is not enough. You have to have a plan as well. See, I know girls that's 10, 11, 12 years old can braid hair. I'm talking about need to be in somebody's shop. That's how good they are. But if that's what they want to do in their future, then what is your next plan? What is your next plan? What classes do you have to take? See, people don't even realize that dealing with hair is also dealing with chemistry because those are chemicals that you're using in other people's hair. So you have to take science classes, you have to take math classes before you even go to the next stage. So that's your game plan. Have a game plan in whatever you want to do, and you can be whatever you want to be. So I didn't mean to just talk.
Oh no, no, no! I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's a part. I mean, as I was saying earlier, part of being an author is being the eyes and the ears and the voice for people, uh, and to really help guide them. It's a big work. I mean, it doesn't even matter what genre you write in. I know when a book is good when I can put myself in that book, or when I can see myself in that book. When you were talking, I felt like I had to sit up a little taller because, and really, even though this book is written toward young people, it, like you said, old girls too. Definitely need to hear that story as well. So I like unique, especially in the time now where everybody, it seems like they want to fit in, they want to follow. It's social media, I think it's created more followers than it has leaders. And even on social media, you know, we're followed, you have followers, you have friends, or you have everything, but it doesn't say, okay, let's a bunch of leaders get together. So I think, you know, with all the challenges, TikTok and all this thing where it encourages you, let's do something like everybody else does. So it's important to have that story unique. And
It
so, no, go ahead.
No, I was saying it really, really is, and that is so true because a lot of those things on social media are not good for our children. And that's where parents, guardians, counselors, mentors, teachers come in because we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility as adults to let our girls know what is right and what is wrong. We have a responsibility to let those young girls know no matter what your circumstance is, you have to dream big. Because I mean, just looking at some of the things on social media, I I know I'm old school, but it's a shock to me to see what it's no they don't have any values or morals. They don't have any place to stop. It's like whatever somebody does, they want to do it. And that's what I hope that Unique is teaching girls, that you can be different and you can be unique and powerful just by being yourself. You don't have to follow anybody because most times when we follow people, the people that we following 10 years down the line, we probably wish we never even followed them. You know, I mean, it's like being in school. I don't remember. I don't remember a lot of bullying in school. I really don't remember. In my time, I don't remember a lot of bullying in school. But I do remember people had their cliques. You had your, different kind of cliques. I was a band geek, so I was in the band mostly. But I mean, it was just certain types of cliques that people dealt with. But I really don't remember anybody just bullying somebody because they didn't have enough or they looked different or their hair was different. And the times have changed and it's already so much going on in the world. We don't need that extra in our lives. So I think if we teach our girls to love themselves, to have empathy on other people, to be powerful, to be leaders, not followers, but leaders. Have people following you for the right reason. Then we can make a change. We can make a change.
Definitely. I would love to hear some of your of with that book. So we know you wrote the book, and how long did it take you to write the book? When was it published? And I often ask authors, what was your intention for the book? Where do you see that book going?
Well, I the book was published this year, February of this year, and I had my first book fair in February as well, and everything was looking great. Then we had a bad little girl come along called Corona, and she just changed everything. I was sitting up one night. This is actually what made me write the book because I mean, like I said, I was a teacher, so I've always been enthused with little girls and how they think and what their dreams were. But I was sitting up one night looking at the news, and it broke my heart. A 13-year-old girl took her life because somebody was bullying her. That broke my heart right there because her life was gone because of somebody else's actions. But it had to start from somewhere. What I what made me write this book is my mother was an educator as well. She was an educator for 42 years. And my mother, me being the only girl and the baby, she used to tell me every morning, you get up, you look in that mirror, and you tell yourself you're smart, you're intelligent, you're beautiful, you can do anything that you set your mind to. And I used to tell myself that every morning. And one thing I do know, what comes out of here is heard up here. And once this starts believing it, can't nobody do anything and tell you anything. So I felt like if I wrote a book where girls can read encouraging words to themselves, wonderful affirmations to themselves, showing them what they can be in this world, then one day they will be the same way. And no matter what somebody tells you or what somebody says about you, long as you know who you are, it won't be anybody taking their life. It won't be anybody losing out in this world. That 13-year-old girl has so much, I'm pretty sure, to live for. But because of somebody else's words, and I want young girls to know words, other people's words don't matter. It doesn't matter what somebody else say. Now, I'm not going to say what the elderly people used to say, words don't hurt, because words do hurt. But you have to put it in your heart and your mind that I'm not going to listen to what they say because I already know who I am. And that's where we have to come in and encourage our young girls to know who they are, love themselves. But that's why I wrote the book, to hopefully help somebody change the way they think about themselves, and then maybe can break a cycle and have a better future.
Awesome. We're going to close out the session in a minute and jump on to our next, but we'd love to hear a few minutes of the book, maybe about 2 minutes of a special part that you wanted to share.
Okay.
And then we're going to get ready to close out our first session
Okay.
and hop on over to the next.
Well, I would be happy uh, to do that. Uh, I think I'm going to have to do, put the phone down a minute because I'm holding the phone, but I'm going to have to I'll put it down, but I'm going to make sure you can see the book, okay?
Okay.
Can you still? Uh-oh. See
Uh-oh.
there? See, I told you, the devil is the look. That we're not going to let the devil mess with us today. Okay. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay. So this is just a portion of the book, and I'm starting in the middle. It says, I am funny. I am strong. I can laugh and I can cry. I can reach for the sky. I can make a difference in my community. I can make a difference in my neighborhood. I can make a difference in the world. I love me because I am different. I love my hair that's kinky, woolly, straight, and curly. I love my skin that's dark, cocoa brown, and pale. I am a girl of color who is free to be me.
I love that. I love that.
And I have a picture in the back that shows this is me. I love that picture because that's girls. Beautiful, beautiful girls.
That's awesome.
That can make a difference.
That is awesome. So if you want to connect with Author Lane Bird,
could you hear me?
I could hear you perfectly.
Could you hear me?
I can hear. We could hear you and see you. If you want to connect, we're going to put your graphic up on the screen. And so just take out your smart device, scan on over there. Make sure you visit and learn all about Unique and the beautiful story. I love the graphics. The girls are really, really cute, the way they're kind of hanging in there. So definitely connect with Author Lane Bird, read about Unique, and remember that you are unique and we all have a gift. So we're going to get ready to go into our second hour. I just want to remind our authors that are with us today that you need to go to the second link as we go into our second hour and be ready and meet us on the other side. So make sure you check your email and go to that second link. I hope everybody is having a good time here today. I definitely am. So definitely come back with us. Check out on the other side. We're going to have another commercial on the way out. Give you a chance. I know you've been sitting here for a while, so you got 8 minutes to go. Get you some water, take a break, and we'll see you on the other side on the second link at 4:05. For those who are covering us live, we're going to be back live at 4:05 Eastern Standard Time. This whole book fair is going to be available online. And so since it's going to be available online, we're going to break it up in 3 separate recordings because we want to make sure that we get it out and that everyone has a chance to share it. It will be available for replay. So if you missed anything from the beginning, don't worry about it. We're recording it and you can definitely catch up with us on the other side and we'll be back. I'm going to take us out with another commercial. So we'll be right back after this. Authors, hold tight.